Welcome back to the Shardbreaker podcast. We are on episode 5 of Mistborn, the Final Empire. We're doing chapters 13 through 17 this episode. I am Midnight, and I'm here with Mythic
Hello.
and Darkness.
Hello.
You sound so tired there, Darkness.
Yeah, you stayed up all night reading a book.
Don't worry about it. I feel great.
We were totally not playing Demonologist or anything. We
I'm
were
sure.
totally reading.
I was also not sick for the past week.
Oh no, I'm sorry to hear that.
Totally not.
I've been sick 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah, I was gonna say, were you sick like a week or two ago?
Yeah. I get better
Jeez.
and then I just back.
That sucks.
To get that immune system checked.
Yeah, jeez. Take some vitamins.
Anyway.
Almost as bad as some other people's immune system in this book.
So anyways, we'll start with, of course, the epigraph for chapter 13, which I believe technically Mythic read out at the end of last episode, but we'll do it again here.
It's such a good epigraph.
So it says, I know that I shouldn't let a simple pack-man perturb me. However, he is from Terrace, where the prophecies originated. If anyone could spot a fraud, would it not be he? Nevertheless, I continue my trek, going where the scribbled auguries proclaim that I will meet my destiny. Walking, feeling Rashek's eyes on my back. Jealous, mocking, hating. So, do you think Rashek is correct that this person is a fraud and not the true person that the prophecies think he is?
I think so.
No,
I genuinely
I think Rashek is going to take it over.
Do you think this guy is the right person, but Rashek's gonna fuck it up?
History is written by the victors. So.
It's true. Were you gonna say something else there, Darkness?
Well, technically, in this context, if we're talking about Tradesman, then it's not written by the victors, but
True. But then if you kill all those people off, or control the narrative...
And potentially have this book locked up in a room somewhere, I mean, who knows?
Huh, yeah, I know, I found that pretty fascinating, too.
The Lord Ruler, right? Yeah, I think I'm sticking to the fact that it's the not Lord Ruler, Like it's the Lord Ruler they have now there, but I don't think it's what is it, Reshek? That is the Lord Ruler now.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think, or you do think Rashek is today's Lord Ruler?
I don't think he's today's Lord Ruler.
Okay.
All right. So then going into present day Mistborn, we have Vin's point of view as she sits in a shirt and trousers instead of a dress. Sazed is with her and had questioned her in detail about her conversation with Ellen Venture. Vin notes that she hadn't told Sazed how comfortable she had felt around Ellen, that he had somehow gotten her to speak as the true her, which she had only ever done with Kelsier and the others. She notes that next time she meets Ellen, she'll be more cautious. Kelsier then returns, and both him and Lord Renaud come into the room, and Sazed asks the servants to all leave them alone. Sazed tells him that Vin caught Ellen's eye, and Lord Renaud notes that he met Ellen 4 years ago and found him a bit undignified for his position. Vin is confused by Renaud having known Ellen 4 years ago, since he couldn't have been pretending to be Lord Renaud for more than 2 years. So how do you think Lord Renaud knows Ellen? Or knows of him?
Probably another infiltration job.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, you just think he's like pro at pretending to be nobles.
Most likely.
So Vin's told she needs to be less charming, as inviting the attention of someone of such a high rank above her could cause a scandal. It would make women jealous and not like her, as Ellen is a young bachelor, and the men will be offended by the difference in status. In order for her to get the information needed, she needs to be able to integrate into the court. Lord Renaud also mentions that it's unlikely Ellen likes her, and more likely he's trying to heighten his eccentric personality. Vin finds herself unable to help feeling annoyed at all of them being so flippant about it. Kelsier then says Vin should avoid Ellen completely and maybe give him one of her signature glares, which she then gives to Kelsier. So do you think it's true that Ellen specifically spoke to her to just be like, oh look, I'm speaking to this random person, aren't I out of the ordinary noble, or do you think it was really just a random thing?
I think it was just random. Look, he wanted to talk to her because she seemed different, Who knows? I feel like there's gonna be a little bit of history repeating itself, where they are each other's, Kelsier and Mare.
Ah,
Do you think that
Yep.
which one do you think is Kelsier?
I think obviously Vin is Kelsier.
Do you think he's gonna betray her?
I think so.
what do you think, Nathan?
I have a wild theory on that
Okay.
topic, but not pertaining to these two specifically.
Mm.
Um,
On
so
the
I
Kelsier one.
on the topic of somebody betraying Vin, but
Mm.
I'm still on the same boat as we were in the very beginning with Darkness saying I think Darkness said it that Kelsier is like the
The bad
what was
guy?
his name from War no yeah but from Warbreaker, what was that guy's name that was supposedly good the whole time and then
On cloth?
Oh, Vasher? No.
no, not Vasher, the other guy, the one
Dent?
Vasher was fighting, yeah, Dem. It's like he's
There you
this book's Dem.
Mm.
uh, I don't think it was random though that this guy met her. I feel like there's a reason because there's no such thing as coincidence.
Alright. So
I don't
Vin
know
then
what the
mentioned
reason is, but
So Vin then mentions seeing her father at the ball, but is unable to describe him in a way that differentiates him from any other obligator. She's like, "Oh yeah, he's bald. He's got eye tattoos." They're like, "Yes, great. That describes every obligator, Vin. Good job." Kelsier tells her to point him out sometime. Kelsier also asks about the men who asked Vin to dance, and says he got a list from Vin as well as got some information from the steward's meal. Kelsier then mentions they'll talk about it tomorrow.
has
Uh,
Vin ever has Vin ever met the Lord Ruler?
I don't think I don't think so.
I don't. The reason I don't think she like has is because of how she describes the presence and stuff. That was later
Yeah,
on.
I don't. She
Yeah,
because like she kind of
but
thinks of him as like she doesn't seem to have any kind of proper like perspective on him.
okay,
'Cause
yeah, that kind of thinking about it, I actually ruins the theory I had. But yeah, okay.
Because I think she asked Kelsey or someone about it previously, and he's like, "Oh yeah, we've like," because like during the discussions of like who can actually like be in the same like pretend to be a noble duck, and it's like, "Oh, I've met the Lord Ruler face to face before," and like Kelsey was like, "Yeah, a lot of us have actually talked to him before while pretending to be people." And Vin's like, I think shocked by that or something. Like she doesn't seem to have any like, "Oh yeah, I've also done that."
Yeah, I mean, so I was just curious because like she wouldn't know what the Lord Ruler looked like then, right?
No, I don't believe she does. I think she might have like a general idea just from people like talking about him, but I don't think she's. There's no reason to believe that she's ever seen him before.
So the reason I ask is because like it's one of my ideas. It kind of came up to me later when she gets saved, but because I originally thought that was her brother, and then it started me down this whole like spiral of what if the reason he seems immortal is because he continues to take other people's like bodies or faces,
Mm,
and maybe he's wearing Vin's brother's face right now.
that would be fucking weird as hell, dude.
Well, because I know, well, I mean, yeah, but I feel like that would be a great way to throw in her brother
hmm
into this book. So,
Yeah.
By the way, we have no idea what happened to her brother, right?
nope.
She seems to believe that he just ditched on her because he had a bunch of debts to people.
I
But
say he got
maybe,
sent to the pit.
You think he's in the pits?
I hope so.
I mean, I have two opinions. He's either the one I was saying about the Lord Ruler that took his face or whatever, or he's a Steel Inquisitor,
Mm.
and I specifically think he's the Steel Inquisitor that was following her.
Who is your father?
All right, so yeah, Kelsier then leaves, not telling them which family he is planning on hitting like he usually does. So Vin pretends to head to bed, but instead goes out into the mist to follow Kelsier. She follows him out of Felice, confused at first until she comes across a set of bronze bars embedded in the ground. Quickly, she realizes it's an allomantic highway from Felice to Luthadel, which is how Kelsier always gets to and from the city so quickly. So, what did you think about this
So cool,
allomantic highway?
so cool,
It's
so
really
cool.
cool. I always love it.
Yeah, a lot of push and pull.
I'm kind of curious as to how a tube would work.
Oh, what would work?
Like a tube, like just like a cylindrical, just tube, like a highway instead of just pieces of metal on the ground.
What do you mean? Like just a metal tube?
Yeah,
I mean, I
they
feel
just
like
go
you're,
through it, see what happens.
but
I don't know how that would work.
Yeah, like it makes
Exactly.
sense.
That's
It
what
makes
I'm
sense.
saying.
Yeah, it makes sense with the metal embedded in the ground because you're pushing and pulling,
Mhm.
outwards.
But like if you're
But
like
with a tube,
inside the metal
it's
tube,
one
like
single thing. Yeah, it's a single object. So if you're pushing or pulling against it, you're pretty much just pushing and pulling it the same object. You wouldn't move through that object though,
yeah, I don't
unless
think
they
that
were
would
separate
work.
Okay,
tubes.
but what if you're in like a sphere, like a fully enclosed sphere?
Like, are you trying to think like they roll like a hamster wheel? Because I don't know
Yeah, but like,
if they would.
I mean, you couldn't really use it though. Use your elements like that though, unless you're pushing.
I
Maybe you're pushing the sphere somehow,
yeah, I don't know.
but
I think you generally have to be
you're
like on
inside
the
of it.
outside of the metal.
I think you would just. I think you would be able to push like and just hover in the middle of the sphere because of the center like below you.
Yeah, but how would you move the sphere?
Yeah, you wouldn't
You
move the sphere
wouldn't.
though. You'd just be hovering in the middle of the sphere.
Yeah, that's what I'm like trying to think. Like, can you move when you're doing that? By the way,
What?
like like adjust your position.
Yeah, I would assume you could move by like
Then
changing
it
the amount you're
then
pulling or pushing.
then if you're in a sphere and you just like move your body, wouldn't it just like move directions?
I don't think it would work that way.
We could try darkness. We could put you in a metal sphere and see if you can,
I feel like
Honestly, that sounds like fun.
I feel like if you pushed yourself in a metal sphere, you just smash your face into the other side of the metal sphere. Like it may roll you, but I feel like you
it
would
wouldn't
have
be
to
that
keep
fast.
hitting the sides of the sphere, and it'd be like worse than just rolling in a giant ball yourself by like running.
Yeah,
I feel like you just get super bruised.
that's fine. They're used
I
to
mean,
it.
I like the tube idea with the sphere thing, but like, and using like if you shot a sphere through like a metal sphere through a pipeline, and then you just kind of pulled yourself with it
Yeah, that's
somehow, I can understand. But like, I don't feel like that'd be fast. I feel
And
like
yeah, I think the
the
way they're
momentum
doing
of the
it
sphere
is
would slow.
pretty good. Yeah.
Man, it's pretty cool. I like it embedded in the ground.
Mhm. And then there's also ones on like the sides to like help you like reposition yourself.
Mm-hmm. It's a
Anyway,
highway.
yes. But anyway, so Vin then leaps recklessly fast to try to catch up to Kelsier and ends up at the city walls 2 times as fast as she would have on a horse. She
Which they don't
realizes,
say how long that is.
I mean, yeah. Well, I think they
How
say
fast do you get there on a horse?
well, I don't remember exactly how much it is, but it has mentioned, I think, previously how long a carriage ride takes. And I'm assuming being on horseback would be slightly faster than at least a bit faster, if not twice as fast as the carriage. Because remember, they show up at I think it takes like at least several hours. Because don't they like when she first goes to Felice, they go like in the middle of the night and meet up with Sage in that carriage, and then it's like I think becoming morning or something, or like it's still night when they arrive in
So,
Felice.
so 12 hours, but she got there in 6,
No, probably way less than that. She probably got there in like
right?
I think it'd probably have been like 4 hours by carriage, so I think she probably got there in like an hour or two max.
That's burning metal for a long time.
Well, and that's why she was out of it when she got there.
Anyways, so anyway, she realizes that she lost Kelsier and begins to randomly wander the town searching for him. Eventually, she
Great
ends up
idea.
at Keep Venture and sees Kelsier is also a few houses away. She worries that he's going to assassinate Elend, but he eventually moves off into the night. Vin then begins to follow him, and as she begins to notice him moving faster, a hand lands on her shoulder. Kelsier is there, having used her trick of throwing his coin pouch to make her think he had kept going. He says that at first he thought she was a Venture Mistborn, and mentions it's likely they have some, but also that Elend is not even a Misting, as he almost died once, and that would have been the time to use his powers if he had any. So, did you think Elend was going to have powers of some sort? Or are you surprised he's not even a Misting, considering he's a noble?
No, I figured he was just
Uh,
normal.
I thought he was a boring, just normal person, but yeah.
Yeah, boring normal person.
I
I don't know.
about
If I
boring,
was a noble
yeah.
and I didn't have any cool powers, I'd be pretty disappointed.
Nah, I'd make that shit fucking count. I'd be like, all right, all y'all are freaks. I'm the actual normal one here. Y'all freaks.
I would get attached to every person I meet, like severely attached, and then hope they all die at the same time so I can snap.
Wow.
I'd be looking for ways to siphon out people's powers. Like, yep, your power are now mine. Hi, Lord Ruler. Touch my hand. Oh, thanks. I got all your power.
So Kelsier then brings up trust in regards to her following him and says he was just trying to keep people from worrying when she throws the trust thing back at him in regards to sneaking off. She then realizes he was going to critic Shaw. Kelsier says he wasn't planning on running into the Lord Ruler. He agrees.
Never planning.
Yeah. I think I missed a sentence here. What the fuck was this?
Missed a lot.
Well, I'm trying to summarize, remember? Do you want me to go into more detail and we can do half the chapters per episode?
I want you to go into all the detail, and then we still do the same chapters.
Yeah, did you even read?
I did! What the fuck are you talking about? So he says she should go back to Klebs' shop, but can tell that she's going to follow him anyways. He tries to dissuade her, but keeps insisting that as a Mistborn, she should be able to help him, and that how she'll be ready for harder Mistborn jobs. What the fuck am I even? I wrote this so late at night. Jesus Christ. She asks how she will be ready for
Jesus
harder.
is there? I thought you said he went out.
So she asks how she will be ready for harder Mistborn jobs if he doesn't teach her, and that the other, if he doesn't teach her the other two metals. And he says that he will teach her the other two. I think he says he'll teach her the other two later. But she's like
insistent,
no.
And
yeah, she's
she
like
says,
very.
All right, here's one of them.
Yeah. So, do you think Kelsier had any chance in convincing Vin not to come?
Or no, not at all.
Yeah.
she was pretty little child.
What do you think, Darkness? Was there any chance of convincing Vin not to show up?
No chance.
Yeah, that'd be like you trying to finish your notes.
I finish my notes usually. I've had a rough week, okay? So Kelsier then reluctantly brings out a tiny silvery ball of metal that almost looks to be liquid. Kelsier tells her that it's atium, the 10th and most powerful of the elemental metals. So we're skipping the 9th. We still don't know what the 9th metal is. Straight to the 10th.
It's gold.
And he explains that it's only produced in the pits of Hathen, and that the Lord Ruler only distributes it to the nobles and only allows them to buy a specific amount each month. He also tells her that she can't sell it because the Lord Ruler is very protective of his atium supply. So, they'll know. They'll fucking know if someone's selling some. So Kelsier then has Vin burn the metal, and Vin watches as a translucent shadow comes out of Kelsier, doing exactly what he does, but before he does it. Kelsier explains that it allows you to see slightly into the future of people, and that it also allows you to react more quickly so that nothing can surprise you, which he demonstrates by trying to slap her, and she catches his arm. So Kelsier then shows her what happens when another person burns atium at the same time. Dozens of shadows come out of Kelsier as it shows each option of what he will do in reaction to what each option of she will do. So it's just like all these different options are basically appearing. And so he explains that the only way to combat someone that is burning atium is to burn it yourself. It also burns very quickly and is easily dissolved by the stomach acids, so you can't keep it in you for too long. Most Mistborn will be reluctant to use atium since it's so valuable and burns so easily. What were your thoughts on atium?
Awesome. And I'm so happy that I'm right, that future sight exists. Which means the inverse has to happen, meaning that whatever the 11th metal is, or not 11th, sorry, 9th metal is, it's probably like the past sight or something. Which I think is what the one guy has. So.
Which guy?
The one that's been like shadowing
Says.
Vin. Yeah, Says, that's it.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
What did you think of atium, Darkness?
I was just thinking more like, if it burns that fast, it kind of makes sense, the amount that keeps getting set to where the Lord Ruler is. But then I go into like a fucking just like derailed, like, because if the Lord Ruler's actually using all that atium, ultimately their plan is gonna just nothing.
Yeah, I mean, if he's just looking into the future with a fuck ton of atium, yeah, like, he might see their plan, is what you're saying?
Like, if it's that important, and if he's not worried about it, then I'm kind of worried, because that means that there's already stuff going wrong, you know?
It's true. So Vin then asks if this means that Kelsier will take her, and he reluctantly agrees, warning her that this is going to be very dangerous. Kelsier then hands her another vial with atium and another vial of the other metals, since she says she's running low on steel. And that is chapter 13, so we move on to chapter 14, and its epigraph, which is, sometimes I wonder if I'm going mad. Perhaps it is due to the pressure of knowing...
You are.
Wow. Perhaps it is due to the pressure of knowing that I must somehow bear the burden of an entire world. Perhaps it is caused by the death I have seen, the friends I have lost, the friends that I have been forced to kill. Either way, I sometimes see shadows following me, dark creatures that I don't understand, nor wish to understand. Are they perhaps some figment of my overtaxed mind?
No.
Yeah, well, that was going to be my question is, do you think these shadows are figments of his imagination, or do you think these shadows are real?
Yep, real, but they're like the ninth metal or something they're shown in the past.
Hmm. What do you think, Darkness?
I think it's me chasing after him.
Wait, why would
No,
you chase after him?
you'll just have to wait and find out.
So you're
No,
here,
but
you could just tell us.
no. Why would I spill all my secrets?
Because it's funny.
No. Anyway, uh, I didn't think about it like I thought like ATM related, but because of the shadows and all that shit. But I mean, Mythic's theory makes a lot of sense, especially with what we learned a little bit later. You know.
Hmm. And also there was the little note saying that he had killed friends. What do you think that's
Oh,
about?
I mean, I'd kill you both, so.
Wow.
Hey, if it meant I got power, fuck yeah.
Wow.
Like, yep, sorry. Stab, stab.
What do you think about it, Darkness? The fact that he's apparently killed some of his friends.
maybe he like.
And it's also specifically the friends he was forced to kill. It's not that he chose to, he was forced to kill them.
Oh, he was forced
I
to
mean,
kill
he's
them.
forced to do this prophecy, so.
He's forced to,
And
yeah.
that's the wording he uses.
Yeah, but somebody can be forced to kill someone else, and in this aspect, because a prophecy or some shit, Like, just they weren't like literally like they could be saying that they were forced because obviously it's like for the greater good and shit. But that doesn't mean they had to. That just means they wanted to in order to like try and get that outcome.
I see. So we skip to Vin and Kelsier watching Credit Shaw from a rooftop. It has started raining, and Vin notes that she feels as if being near the building sucks away her hope. Kelsier tells Vin that they're going to be going into the center of the compound, and then over to the right side, into a bunker, I believe he says. And apparently the Lord Ruler goes there once every 3 days for 3 hours, but Kelsier doesn't know why. I'm just curious if you guys have any thoughts about why.
I don't know why, but I know I have a feeling it's for the fact that how he's able to be immortal.
It's like a spa day.
Spa day! 3 hour spa day every 3 days. Gotta keep
Yeah,
that
that's
skin
right.
nice and fresh.
Yep.
When you're 1,000 years old, you gotta make sure you don't look it.
Exactly. So you understand.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be a immortal being, right?
So there's this is also where he got caught 3 years ago. He says at the time he thought the Lord Ruler stored riches in there, but now he doesn't think so. He thinks there may be something inside that explains his immortality. Kelsier also explains that last time they went there, inquisitors were waiting for them, which is why they think someone tipped them off. And Vin then brings up the depression she feels from Credit Shaw, and Kelsier mentions that the Lord Ruler is an incredibly powerful soother, and to turn on her copper to feel better. They then jump off the roof and begin running towards Credit Shaw, the building having nothing around it except open space. What do you think about how powerful a soother the Lord Ruler is? That apparently he just exudes this depression from
I think that I think that he's obviously just not just a soother, right? If you're that old and you have elementic powers, you're gonna get really good at using them.
yeah, it's like
Like if you
Breeze,
don't
but
get
100 times over.
yeah, if you don't take advantage of like all those years in order to practice with your powers, then you know.
I feel like at that point you don't even need to practice, just using them every once in a while. You kind of just get good with that much time.
Yeah.
What do you think, Mythic?
About what?
How powerful of a soother the Lord Ruler is? Him just
And
sending depression out.
Is he powerful, or has he got plenty of people that are making him seem like he's powerful?
I don't know, that's just Kelsier says that he's an incredibly powerful soother.
Well, Kelsier says a lot of things.
So they then
Kelsier also said that he was going to protect Vin.
so they then get to a gate where their two guards are standing. Kelsier slashes one with his glass knife and knocks the other one out with a powerful kick to the chest. They then go inside Critic Shaw via the door that the guards have been protecting. As they go down the hallway, another guard steps out of a room, and Kelsier quickly hits him in the stomach and slams him into a wall to knock him out. Kelsier then enters the room that the guard had exited, and Vin watches as Kelsier grabs a candelabrum into his hands and begins taking down the guards with it. One guard turns towards Vin, and she sprays coins at him, killing him, and then returning the bloody coins to her hand. She uses those coins to take down 3 more guards, and Kelsier takes down the last guard. Vin then realizes she had just killed 4 men, where previously Reen had done any killing that was necessary. So, what do you think about these being Vin's first kills as a Mistborn?
Pop your cherry at some point.
I was gonna say, I thought it was fine. Like, it's just gonna get worse from here on.
I don't know if I want to be holding the bloody coins. That's kind of gross.
I think it's cool. It's a good aesthetic.
I see. So another squadron of guards arrives, and Kelsier pulls all the lanterns off the walls and smashes them together. In the dark, he takes out the guards with his knife, and Kelsier then tells Vin they were evil men. Vin feels wrong and thinks she can still feel the Lord Ruler's soothing, even with her copper on. Do you think the Lord Ruler's soothing is actually still affecting her with her copper, or do you think she's just nervous about being in Critic Shaw and just feels like on edge?
Definitely seems like she's just on edge, but
Because you're not supposed to be able to feel Allomancy with copper on.
Well, I think that it's just that strong,
You think if over 1,000 years you can just get good enough to, like, go through copper?
I mean, he's the Lord Ruler.
That's true. He is the Lord Ruler. It's very true. So they then pull themselves down the hallway, and Kelsier kills 2 haze killers on their way. And then they go into a brightly lit room with a large domed roof. There are silvered inlaid murals depicting scenes like the stained glass and Keep Venture. They depict a mountain, a cavern, a pool of light, and something very dark. The center of the room was dominated by an ornate 1-story building. The door to the building was carved with lettering that Vin didn't recognize. So what are your thoughts on this room? Like the murals, the building in the center? What's your thoughts on all this?
My thoughts when I first saw that was, I'm very fucking sleepy. I'm going to sleep, so I barely remember that. I really barely remember that part.
What do you think about it now, then?
I think I low-key just want to see what's inside, like, that whole place.
Inside the little building?
Inside, like, the whole, like, everything.
All of Critic Shaw?
Yeah. Did we get a tour?
I mean, I don't know if the Lord Ruler's given out tours. What did you think of the, like, murals and the building inside a building, Mythic?
I figured you were going to give us a lot more detail, but apparently not.
There wasn't that much more detail than that about that room.
You should give us more detail.
What do you mean I should give you more detail?
You've read this
You were
book.
there.
You exactly. You know.
I just give you
us
what the
more
book
detail.
gives you.
No, you give us more.
No.
Yes. What are you good for if you don't give us more?
Questions. I'm
Thank
here
you.
to prompt you to think harder about the book.
I already think pretty hard about this
To
book.
look deep inside yourself.
And find the Allomancy inside.
Yeah. I want you to get so traumatized you're gonna snap.
I'm gonna go eat some metal, see if it works.
I mean, if I came over and ate Artemis, would you snap?
I would fight you to the death.
I should come over and make you snap then.
I don't think you should eat Artemis. It seems like she doesn't get fed a lot. So.
She gets fed!
You're right, actually.
Anyway, so when Kelsier opens the door, inside is a Steel Inquisitor. The Inquisitor smiles and Kelsier yells for Vin to run as the Inquisitor grabs him by the throat. Vin sees 2 other Inquisitors enter the room as Kelsier is lifted by the neck. The Inquisitor calls Kelsier by the title Survivor of the Pits of Hassan, and then says he's been looking for Vin and asks her which noble spawned her. He also is noted as having like this like grinding type voice. Do you have any thoughts about that?
First of all, when he smiled, you know what I would have done? I would have smiled and waved back, First of all, like, who the fuck you smiling at like that? Is that the part where he's like, who is your father?
I mean, he says that multiple times, but yes.
Yeah, that shit had me cracking up throughout the whole part. I don't know why it just freaking
Who
made
is your
like
father? Tell us who
yeah.
your father is. What noble spawned you?
I don't know if it was me dreaming or if it was part of the book. I can't quite remember. But I do remember they were. I don't know if they were, if I remember, but I'm pretty sure they were asking in order to like get rid of the father.
I mean, I think that's what's implied here is because they say in previous like early on in the book that like if you have like a half child like a half godchild, you're basically in like huge fucking trouble as a nobleman.
Yeah, but no, I like it might. I don't know. I think it was in my dream. You know what? I should probably read this and then just go to sleep and see how like my theories work out.
Oh my
Because
gosh.
because because in my head, all I heard was like, "Oh, tell me who your father is for so we can decapitate them." You know?
They definitely didn't say that.
Okay, then yeah, it was in my head. So.
Do we have a dream journal of darkness?
Darkness needs to start a dream journal. He needs to read the episodes every Saturday night before the episode, and then have a dream journal ready.
Well, he already does half of that, so.
Well, sometimes I think he reads some like Sunday morning.
I started reading them Sunday morning, like the past
Yeah,
3 weeks.
so we could be much more understanding of the book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally not because I just fall asleep.
Yeah,
So Kelsier then coughs as if trying to speak, and the Inquisitor pulls him close. Kelsier then slams a glass dagger into the creature's neck and slams his fist into its forearm and snaps the bone so that he's dropped. Before I go on, do you have any thoughts about like the fact that they keep calling them creatures and not people?
They're not alive anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about that part, but they definitely, from the way they fight, they don't seem like people anymore.
And they do got some spikes rammed through their eyes.
They're puppets with personalities, ghosts of the past, of who they used to once be. Now they're just puppets for
the Lord Ruler.
I guess.
So Kelsier again tells Vin to run and pushes her through the room with his coin pouch. The two other Inquisitors are now between her and Kelsier, and once again Kelsier yells run, and this time Vin does so. As Vin pulls herself down the corridor, one of the Inquisitors pulls on the coin pouch to cause her to come to a stop. Vin tries to throw coins at the Inquisitor, but he stops them and causes Vin to get pushed backwards. Vin drops the coin pouch and goes into a room with a golden altar. She grabs a candelabrum like Kelsier had, but the Inquisitor easily pulls it from her. And at the doorway, the Inquisitor grabs these sharp triangles that cut into its hands, and Vin ducks behind the altar to avoid them. The Inquisitor tells her that she is trapped, and Vin realizes that there are no other doors. She grabs a leather-bound book that is next to the altar and takes out the atium and downs it before burning it. So, what are your whole thoughts on this like altar room with this book? Like we obviously know like pretty much what the book is based on like the epigraphs and further chapters, kind of confirming that the book is the epigraphs. But what are your just thoughts about this like altar room?
Wait, what? Really?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Spoiler.
It's definitely not.
What are the thoughts on what?
There's like altar room that's holding this book. Like, why do you think they have like, this altar room with the book?
I was a little confused because I didn't know if that altar room was designed for the Lord Ruler's use, the people's use for the Lord Ruler, or it's used for something else.
So I don't think it's the people's use. So because I don't think people generally go into his.
No, by
place?
people I mean like the people under him, like like the ones there.
Yeah. Well, all we know is that it's like the small room with only one door. It has like I think it pretty much only has this like golden altar and a table with this book on it.
Maybe like he just goes in there to write shit, It's like day 3,044 of ruling over this garbage ass city.
Today I had oatmeal for breakfast, killed 5 ska, and made 1 new Steel Inquisitor. It was an average day.
Today I rammed 2 spikes through a man's skull. Then arose, and I have no idea what I'm going to do with this dead person that I now have.
P.S. It was consensual.
P.S. It was not consensual.
P.S. Multiple personality disorder.
P.S.S. We don't know about each other.
P.S. I no longer remember my mom's face.
Oh?
I don't care, though. We had a fight before I ascended, and I murdered her the next day.
She was my best friend.
The end. End of day.
P.S. I'm really just a glorified Steel Inquisitor.
So Vin is able to use the book to stop the next set of sharp triangles being thrown at her because of her atium, and the Inquisitor stops for a moment in confusion before also burning atium. Vin rushes out into the hallway where there are guards, but they aren't burning atium, so she's able to avoid their weapon attacks, which barely miss her by inches. And then there is a second Steel Inquisitor who shows up and stabs her in the side with a length of wood, which has obsidian blades on it. She feels a lot of pain and blood and wonders if Kelsier is dead since the second Inquisitor showed up. The Inquisitor asks again who her father is.
Who is your father?
Who is your father?
I must murder him. Whoa!
So Vin flares Peter to keep herself up, and then as she gets flanked by the two Inquisitors, she hears rain and darts through a doorway. She's holding the book as she pulls on one of the spires and heads out into the rain and mist. As she pulls herself from pillar to pillar, she hears an Inquisitor hit the pillar above her, and she is able to push the book embedded with the metal in one direction while going in another to confuse the Inquisitor for a moment. However, the Inquisitor finds her again, and Vin numbly pulls herself away again, ending up on a roof and trying to hide, but the Inquisitor again finds her. Suddenly, warm arms grip her, and she wonders if it's Kelsier, but she instead is greeted by a kinder face. Vin then drifts off into unconsciousness. So, what did you think about their little chase, and how do you think the Inquisitor kept finding her?
Well, first off, wait. Did you just gloss past the fact that they also then used atium?
No, I said he used atium.
Okay, because I don't remember you saying that. Because,
yeah, I said that she uses the book to stop a set of triangles, and then the Inquisitor stops for a moment in confusion before also burning atium.
I didn't hear that part. Okay.
Okay.
So, I mean, with that, wouldn't you be able to see the shadows that move to certain areas?
Well, they both would have gotten confused, right? Because they both would see the multiple shadows, because she wasn't done burning her atium yet.
But you just follow shadows. Like, you'd be like, okay, this shadow. If I go there, I'll find her. Like, you see the future.
Well, as I said, when two people are burning atium, you see multiple futures. You don't know which one she's going to take. And then when she chooses one, new multiple futures get brought up.
But he's just good at it, so... Also, how are they burning anything? Like, just store this shit in their body? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. It's not like they're running out of anything. They're just like, I got it. I'll just burn this now.
They just deep throat the huge amounts of metal and keep it there.
I'm wondering,
they don't go to the bathroom at all.
I mean, they're dead, so they shouldn't have to go to the bathroom. Well, that's Darkness's theory, so I'm just running on it.
I don't necessarily think they're dead. I just think they're puppets, but yeah.
They're puppets, so their master doesn't tell them to go to the bathroom. They just don't go.
Hell yeah.
Very kinky shit right there.
I mean, also, the Inquisitor used both pushing and pulling on Vin.
Oh, yeah.
They're all Mistborns. Yeah, they're all Mistborns.
Yeah,
that part.
I was
just going to say, you seemed very surprised that he could use atium, so I was just like, well, he can also push and pull.
Yeah, no, I already figured that much when they were talking about it in general. They were like, oh, they can find you. And I'm like, but that wouldn't make sense of okay, cool. They know where you are. How do they get to you? And then why are they such a big threat? It's not that big of a deal if you were fighting Mistings. So...
it kind of makes sense that they are Mistborns when... you remember that thing I was talking about where I was like, it wouldn't make sense to have soldiers that can get emotionally manipulated.
Mm-hmm.
So if they just burn that fucking anti-emotional shit or whatever it's called.
Copper.
There you go. They'll be fine.
Yeah, and if they just walk around and soothe everybody, nobody will be so nobody will hate them as much. They're soothing everybody, right?
I feel like there's only so much soothing you can do to stop people from hitting an Inquisitor.
I mean, if you soothe them enough, they wouldn't even see the little spikes in your eyes.
I think also part of the point is they want people to fear them.
Fear doesn't really work that well, though.
I mean, it's been working for a while, it looks like, for them.
Yeah, but I mean, if you got rebels and all this other shit, you wouldn't have that if you just, ruled without fear.
Maybe he doesn't want to.
Rule with love.
He wants rebels.
Maybe it's fun for him. He needs to break up the monotony
in 1,000 years, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Um,
god.
but yeah, my original question was how do you think the Inquisitor keeps finding Vin though, even after she gets rid of the book with the metal in it?
Could he be using the other metal, the ninth one that I think for past? I'm trying to think of how, but instead of seeing like her future where she's going to go, it shows where she went.
What if it's that what is it, Tenai thing?
Tonight, yeah, the using tin.
Wait, huh?
Yeah, you can use tin.
Where you
For
Wait,
see the line.
well, no, tin doesn't see the metal lines. It just enhances your eyesight and perception. I think that's what
yeah.
Darkness is saying.
So what I'm thinking is like, what if they mix that with ATM and like they can see like what options are most likely.
I mean, you guys don't really know enough on the powers for me to like properly
Exactly. We don't
comment on
know
that.
shit. So
Um,
you need to tell us all of it. Go ahead. Give us all
um,
the rundown of all of the Allomantic powers. Go for it,
Go ahead.
including the
Yeah.
ninth metal.
Anyway, that was the end of chapter 14. So we're on to chapter 15's epigraph. So it starts with, I don't know why Quan betrayed me. Even still, this event haunts my thoughts. He was the one who discovered me. He was the Terrath philosopher who first called me the hero of ages. It seems ironically surreal that now, after his long struggle to convince his colleagues, he is the only major Terrace holy man to preach against my reign. So why do you think this man named Quan would change his mind about this guy who he said was the hero of ages?
Maybe he saw something there.
He saw the
Oh,
future.
yeah, that could work out. I didn't think of that. But I was thinking like maybe he saw him murder his friends. He's like, you know what? Maybe not. You know,
I
or
mean, you
maybe
think though, if what you guys said about the prophecies
philosophy.
being what forced him into it, you think that would make him more likely to think the guy was the hero of ages, though, right? He's like, oh yes, the prophecy said he would kill his friends. He did that. That's great.
No, but the thing is, what if it's like from when I met, like, what if like the philosophy is the one forcing him to do that? I mean, the philosophy, the
Prophecies.
fucking
I know. I
prophecy.
did that too.
Um, what if like when I said that, I didn't mean it like, oh, if it's part of the like prophecy, then he's gonna do it. No, I meant like, what if he wants to be the person who's actually like in the prophecy,
Who,
but like
Quan?
his friends, I don't know, but like his friends are like in like stopping that, so he has to like murder them for that.
Oh, so yeah, so he's not saying Quan mythic. He's saying that the guy
No,
writing it.
he's yeah, Rashek.
No, it's not Rishek writing it. There's no
I
way.
know. Yeah, but they
Um.
talk about Rashek in third person.
Also, why do you think this guy specifically Quan was named? Because like they've not been naming the other like many people. They've only really named Rashek so far, and now they're naming this guy named Quan.
Because
The
he's the one
people
that gave the prophecy thing, no? Like, who named him as the person that's
that
prophecy?
and yeah, that and because like he did something to the person that's in this thing. So
Mm,
like you don't remember the people who are just nice to you
yeah,
or the people who tried to wrong you.
I was just
He
wondering if you
got
thought it was
betrayed,
significant in any
so
way.
maybe that.
I'm sure it is since you're asking, but
Oh my god. What? What if
But
it's what if it's actually Vin's brother? Cause the you know the yeah that the the person writing it. What if he's 1,000 years old?
you think Vin's brother
yeah,
is somehow a
I don't
thousand years
think
old?
no,
You
no.
never know.
I don't think it's actually Vin's brother, but I
I
mean,
think she
it
would have
could be Vin's
noticed that
brother, but
he
it's something else.
wasn't aging.
Would
She doesn't
she?
understand shit, bruh. What do
First
you
off,
mean?
would she? She
I feel
barely
like she would.
ages.
What do you mean she barely ages?
She looks 12.
She's malnourished.
She looks 12.
First of all, Mythic, I was thinking like with the amount of like talk there is with how young she looks, like how small she looks, it makes sense that she looks like 12. Like it really does. They're always talking about how fucking like small she looks. Like it makes sense that she has that like weak looking body. So
So are we thinking that Midnight looks like she's 12 too because she's small?
hell yeah. I thought she was still in elementary when I first saw her.
Paint me a
Anyways.
picture. Paint me a picture.
So we have Kelsier's point of view, and we start with Doxson yelling at him for bringing Vin to Credit Shaw. Kelsier yells back that he's a madman who should have died in the pits. And he hits the table with pewter and causes it to splinter. And then one of Clubs' apprentices comes to bandage his wounds. They're just kind of yelling at each other. And Kelsier explains that there were 3 Inquisitors and that he'd had to distract them to let Vin escape, but one had gone after her. He also mentions that he doesn't know where she is, but says she could be hiding in the city somewhere or went back to Felice. He begins directing the crew on where to begin searching for Vin when Kelsier and Lestabornas hear someone coming. Kelsier is scared it's an Inquisitor, but it ends up being Sazed carrying Vin and the book that Vin had taken out of Credit Shaw. Sazed has Ham get Vin some more pewter and is glad that she's able to burn it unconsciously. So were you surprised to learn that Sazed was the one that had found Vin?
I don't trust Ace at all. So
What do you think, Mythic?
No, because I was hoping it was her brother, but unfortunately, it
I don't know
wasn't.
if she would have noted the face as kinder than Kelsier's if it was her brother.
that's what I took note on. Like that's what I was like, okay, it has to, you know. I figured it, for some reason I thought it was gonna be Sazed, but I don't trust him. So
I
I
trust
was
him
like,
with my life.
Mythic simps for Sazed.
people with too much knowledge, you know.
They're powerful, and you want to back yourself
Exactly.
behind
And
some powerful people.
powerful people, you gotta watch out for.
You want to back yourself behind some powerful people, right?
They're just gonna end up betraying you. You know, Vin is right.
I mean, maybe, or maybe they'll be there to help you, like what happened with Vin.
No, don't trust them.
So Sazed then sews up Vin's insides and the outer wound and says she may live, but he isn't sure. He tells Kelsier he used an entire metal mind to get to Credit Shaw. So first of all, what do you think a metal mind is?
It's a mind metal. Maybe he like, you know how he
You want to get into it later?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just
but
the words brought up here, which is why I was kind of like.
I mean, it's like it could be for the ninth metal or whatever, and then be like the name of it, like Tenai and what the fuck? I don't remember the other ones were, but
Coin Shot. I don't actually think you knew that one, but whatever.
No, probably not. But
I was like, Coin Shot.
Yeah, right.
Coin Shot is the people who can push on
what's the guy?
metal.
What's the guys what's the ones who use pewter? What are what's that?
Thugs.
Thugs.
Thugs, Users, Riders,
Tinai,
Smokers.
Yeah, like it's a name like that. That's my thought.
What do you call ATM users?
Don't know.
Sears.
Yeah, probably. I can see it.
If it's Sears, I'm gonna be so upset.
Why?
Why?
They have all these cool sounding names. They put Sears in there. Something that can be found anywhere.
Yeah, right. I was saying you have.
Yeah, but nobody uses that as like a powerful thing.
What? They call him a thug.
Yeah, but in this, like quote unquote thugs are like people with like a ability. It's like a power. So
yeah, and in this, if Sears is correct, a Seer is
it's gonna be the same thing as in anything else that is involving like looking into the future or the past. They use the same title for anything else.
So where was it? So Kelsier tells Sazed that he did well, and also asks about the book. Sazed says he found it while searching for Vin, and that it's written in Kaleni. They also mention that Kalenium is the homeland of the Lord Ruler. Sazed says he may be able to translate it after he's spent some time resting. Kelsier and Doxson then speak some more, and Kelsier mentions how he's worried that they'll have to kill the Lord Ruler no matter what. He also mentions that the Lord Ruler ignores normal wounds, decapitation only annoys him, and when burned to nearly a skeleton, he healed in a matter of seconds. He thinks that something in that room would be able to help him figure out how to take down the Lord Ruler. So what are your thoughts on the Lord Ruler's immortality? The fact that, like, he literally can be, like, decapitated and burned alive and be, like, completely fine.
Sounds dope. I mean,
it's the 12th metal.
12th metal, yeah. I mean, because if there's 11, there has to be another one. Because there's a push and pull mechanic going on here. If there's an 11th.
Or maybe it is just the 11th. Like, I was thinking that, like, when I was reading it, maybe it is the 11th, and then the reason Kelsier doesn't know how to use this is because he hasn't fucking, like, hurt himself like that.
He hasn't tried to, like, stab himself while using it?
Yeah, he hasn't died. He hasn't died yet.
You just try to decapitate yourself, see if you come back.
Yeah, great idea.
Either one, Vin or him, is gonna die, like, right at the moment. He's like, you know what? Sloop.
Did you mean slurp? What is sloop?
Just fucking swallows the metal. And he's like, oh, yay. Let me put my head back on.
That noise. You're ready for it.
For some reason, my mind took the fucking 11th metal like a big noodle.
What the fuck? Oh god. Anyways, Kelsier then also tells Dox that he hadn't meant to bring Vin, but she had followed him and he was worried she would have gone in alone if he hadn't taken her. He also wonders if there is something that will help in the book they have, and says not to ask if it's worth it until they know whether Vin will live or not.
I mean, I wish they would have asked after, but whatever. I wish they would have addressed that again. Well, when they finally go talk to her or whatever after a while or whatever, 2 weeks of her sleeping and shit like that. Like I figured they would kind of have an idea by then, especially when she's like, "Oh, I could go right back to work, guys."
And they're like, no, you can't.
Yeah, I would have been like, that's when I would have been like, so was it worth it? Because she's better now.
So then we start part 3, which is called Children of a Bleeding Sun.
Mm-hmm.
You have any thoughts on the part 3 title?
Yep, Kelsey's gonna die.
Darkness.
What if it's like related to where the king ruler? Oh my fucking
The
God.
Lord
king,
Ruler?
Yeah, the king ruler. Yeah.
Yeah, where he comes from. Like maybe we learn more about that.
So then we have the epigraph for chapter 16, which is a fucking long one. So it says, "Many think my journey started in Kalenium, that great city of wonder. They forget that I was no king when my quest began. Far from it. I think it would do men well to remember that this task was not begun by emperors, priests, prophets, or generals. It didn't start in Kalenium or Cordell, nor did it come from the great nations to the east or the fiery empire to the west. It began in a small, unimportant town whose name would mean nothing to you. It began with a youth, the son of a blacksmith, who was unremarkable in every way, except in his ability to get into trouble. It began with me."
Son of a blacksmith.
Yeah, so you have any new thoughts about this guy who's apparently the son of a blacksmith from a small town? The writer of this.
Nah, I don't hate on people from small towns.
Wow.
Like Midnight does.
What did you think about this epigraph, Darkness?
I mean, I don't know what to think about it, to be honest. Like, this is supposed to be like a normal person, right?
Yeah, I think it's mostly just like a setup of like, oh, this was just like some random dude. Apparently. Like, I don't know if there was much deeper in it to that. Like, I couldn't find I was struggling for a question for that one.
Why? I'm sorry. Why are blacksmiths always seen as ordinary in like most worlds?
I don't know.
Because they are ordinary.
Okay, but I find that shit so fucking interesting though. Like,
but they are though. Like, if you want to go back as like far as medieval times, blacksmithing wasn't. It's not like a trade that is super hard to do. It just takes time to learn to be and perfect. But you could easily go in there, pick up a piece of metal, put it in the forge, and kind of roughly make something. It might not be the best, and there will always be somebody who's better than you. It's pretty easy to just do. It takes a lot of time to hone the craft, but you could probably just pick it up.
Yeah.
So it's pretty average.
And I think it's kind of like similar to like just like a shoemaker or a cloth maker or stuff. Like it's kind of just like all the farmers need tools. Everyone like needs nails.
Shoemaker's a little different. I mean, it takes a little more artistry, but sure.
A little bit more, but I mean, like if you're just doing like basic stuff, if you're not doing anything fancy, like everyone needs shoes.
How dare you call it basic?
Everyone needs shoes. Everyone needs clothes. Everyone needs like tools for their day-to-day stuff. Like they made probably like cooking pans. They would probably make like farmers' tools, nails for building houses.
Yep. Stuff that's probably easy to do.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure like probably like a lot of towns had one, especially to like repair stuff as well.
Yeah, so it's a common job.
Yeah.
Which makes it mundane, much like construction work. My parents were just talking about that the other day. How construction, and there's a couple jobs, but are like overlooked things that are needed in society.
Yeah, they're like daily, like really important needs.
Yep, and yet you get people that are like, oh, these stupid construction workers or whatever.
Well, I feel like that people feel the same about like farmers and stuff now. Like farming is so important because it like literally feeds us. But now that we
Yep.
have grocery stores and you're not like going to see farmers every day, people kind of forget about them.
But you went and saw farmers every day.
Back in the day, no, I'm saying back in the day, like
But you went and saw farmers every day.
no, it didn't say me specifically.
But no, I'm not saying like you specifically. I'm saying you went to farmers and were like, hey, I need the food. They weren't just out at like they're not selling their wares. You
Well, I mean,
literally went to the farmer.
No, they probably had little stalls, but it was like the farmers probably selling their stuff.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's what I
You
mean.
didn't go to them. They came.
Yeah,
to
but like
a lot
it's
a lot
different.
of
Like
people-
grocery stores, I feel like are different than like little farmers markets.
No, but like for sure, a lot of people would go like directly, especially in small towns.
Yeah. Yeah, like a very small town may not have a market. Like it's small enough that you can just walk. Like, oh, I'm gonna go walk to the chicken person to get some eggs and stuff.
Chicken person.
I don't
Chicken
fucking know.
person.
The chicken person.
Is it the chicken person laying the eggs, or is it the chicken?
Oh my gosh. Anyways, we're getting off track again.
I think it's the chicken person.
So Vin wakes up from
Like, what came first, the chicken or the egg?
Oh my god!
the egg.
But can
No,
you
it's the
prove?
chicken,
Can
actually.
you prove that though?
It's the chicken. It makes more sense that the chicken would be first.
Yeah. What
No,
laid the egg? If the egg came first, what laid it?
The creature that then had a mutation that became a chicken.
Okay, then
then
exactly.
the chicken
So the
came-
chicken.
The
The
chicken was
came
inside
first.
the egg. The chicken was inside the egg.
No, but the chicken then came first because the chicken laid that egg that created the chicken.
No, it
Even
would
if
have been
the
a different-
chicken didn't look like what we saw.
No.
It's still the chicken.
No. It's the egg came first.
No, it's the chicken.
No.
Because the mutation has to derive first.
So anyway, so Vin wakes up in a lot of pain and wonders if Reen had beaten her. Apparently he would beat her if she didn't stay quiet and away from others. But the pain seemed too strong and she opens her eyes to see Lestiborns and realize that she is at Clubs' shop. So just right there, like, we've kind of talked about Vin's beatings before, but like, the fact that
They're
he'd be
being
like,
beaten, guys.
she's like beat, if like she like just talks to people.
That sounds like a pretty good thing to do. Just beat your slaves. They'll definitely not rise up and attack you or anything.
Yep. Definitely not starting a rebellion.
Yeah.
Kill you.
What was the girl's name from the last book that was just like, hey, if you paid your workers a little better,
Serene.
yeah, there you go. If you paid your workers a little better, they'd actually do stuff for you. And
They might
would-
actually care about their work if you shared the money
Yeah.
with them.
Yeah, exactly. And then it worked out.
Because
Yeah.
if you make more money, they make more money, and then they can provide for their family better.
And we can keep the world going in a circle.
Um,
Because we don't believe in flat Earth around here.
so Lestiborn is
Maybe Midnight. Maybe Midnight does.
what? I what?
Maybe Midnight believes in flat Earth.
No, I do not. I'm not a flat earther. So Lestiborn jumps to his feet and gives her some water. He then tells her that Kelsier gave him the new name of Spook. I decided not to write out his full sentence there for you, unless you want
Oh,
me to find and
man.
read it out. Do you want me to find and read it out?
That's such a
his-
good sentence, though.
I can find it if you want.
I feel like you need to read it.
Okay.
Such a good sentence.
Let me grab it 1 second.
It's one of his most intelligent ones.
Is it? Alright, he says, Knotting as the now. Kelsier wasing the hit with my name, changed it to Spook.
Yeah.
When I read that, I thought I was like dying or some shit, bro.
Having
When
a
it was
seizure.
when it was read to me, I thought the dude was having a stroke. It's like, god damn.
Got some good Eastern street slang there.
Not into the now.
What the fuck?
um,
I feel like the more I read his stuff and the more he says stuff, the more I'm gonna understand it, and then I'm gonna start speaking like it. And God forbid if I did an entire stream like that.
oh my gosh. So yeah, so before leaving the room, Spook tells her that she's been asleep for 2 weeks. He then gets
That's a
doxed.
long time to sleep.
Yeah, she was basically, I think, like in a coma. So Doxon then enters the room and asks what she remembers. She says, after she explains what she remembers, she asks about Kelsier, and Doxon assures her he is okay. And also asks what Sazed is, and Doxon says it's best if Sazed explains it himself. What were your
I
thoughts on
agree, though.
Spook's new name? Do you like the name Spook over Lestiborn's?
Yeah, because it fits them much better.
Wait, hold on. I just thought of something real quick.
Mm.
Um, so you know how he poured the thing into her like throat and she was like burning that shit, right?
Yeah, she was burning the pewter unconsciously.
So what stops her from just burning everything?
Unconsciously,
Yeah.
I
like pure willpower.
I don't know.
Press F to
I
die.
mean they tell you not to sleep with metals in your system anyways, so.
Yeah, but she was unconscious. And how the fuck are they gonna take shit out that is gonna poison her if she's unconscious for like 2 fucking weeks?
Well, you just hope that there's nothing in there that's gonna poison her. Or hope her body
I mean,
burns it unconsciously like it is with the pewter.
And it's like,
I feel
wow,
like that's a legitimate concern there.
it's like wow, like oh, I put a new like not a new metal, but like I refueled her metal. She's gonna burn specifically that one.
No, they got Ham's metal vial, so Ham only has vials of pewter because he's
Yeah,
only a misting.
but the thing is, why would she only burn that one if like she has other stuff in her already?
But maybe
Oh,
she doesn't have anything left in her.
yeah, she might have used it all
But
trying to get away from the
we don't know that.
Inquisitor. We don't.
No,
We
we
don't know that.
don't. But and neither do they. But I mean, I feel like at that point you're just kind of taking that chance because she was gonna die from that wound anyways.
That's true. I don't know. It's just weird.
I mean,
Like,
it's fun. It's
imagine.
fun. It's funny to notice that obsidian seems to be their kryptonite.
Well, it wasn't. I mean, it's obsidian's like a harder form of glass.
But they made the comment that those specific weapons is what's doing this like severe damage and could kill somebody. And I was like,
No, they specified that he stabbed her so deeply.
oh, was it deeply? I swear it was the weapon.
No, it's specifically how deep the wound was. It
I'll have
has
to
nothing to do with the obsidian. I'm
I
sorry
went
to
to go
tell you.
look it up, not look it up, but like look up the book so I could read it. And I was like, oh wait, I don't read these.
Yeah, no. Sorry to tell you. It's specifically. I can go back to the chapter where she gets stabbed, but it's specifically how deep she gets stabbed.
Anyway, imagine dying to falling down the stairs while you have lead in you
It's,
and being
my
unconscious
gosh.
for a while.
to
Too
be
bad
fair, I think
Squashy's not
pewter
here.
is one of the most toxic ones, considering it has lead in it. So if she's burning that one, at least she's not just keeping lead in her.
Yeah.
Too bad Squashy's not here to understand the One Piece reference that you just made there.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
So
But
Vin.
the whole falling down the stairs thing.
Oh.
So then Vin drinks more water, being told there's something in it to help with the pain, and she falls back asleep. When she next wakes up, Kelsier is there, and Vin asks about the job, and he says the army is growing, and Renoir is starting to buy weapons. He also mentions that the contact Vin had given was working out, and that they'd be able to get Marsh in. He also mentions that Marsh has always had a fascination with the Ministry. What do you think that means, that Marsh has a fascination with the Ministry?
He's in love with everyone that works there.
What do you think, Mythic? Oh,
I mean,
sorry.
yeah, pretty much. That sounds about right. He's in love with everybody.
It's
No, he probably has a fascination because like either he doesn't like somebody that's specifically that's there, or he doesn't like the whole system.
Or he wants to join it,
Or that,
which is kind of scary.
or he's already a part of it.
Yeah.
So Kelsier then apologizes for letting Vin come with him, and he shouldn't have let her convince him. They also talk about. Did I say that already?
Such a crazy thing. Like, you just come in and go, "Hey, I'm sorry that you chose to go with me, and I didn't tell you no."
Well, he says he should have tried harder. He apologizes for like bringing her, and is like, and she kind of says like, "It's okay. Like I
I was
wanted to
going
go."
anyways.
And
Yeah,
he's
I was
like,
going anyways.
Yeah, and he's just like, yeah, but I shouldn't, as like the responsible adult here, I shouldn't have let you convince me. Like I should have sent you back.
And then what? She gets hurt anyways, and we're in the same boat.
At
At least she learned how to use
ATM.
ATM. Yeah, you gave her tools to survive that she wouldn't have had if you had just sent her away and said no.
So they also talk about the job, and Vin says she can start helping again tomorrow. Kelsier just says that she should rest for now, and she can maybe help again soon. Before Kelsier leaves, she's like, "We're not really invincible, are we?" And he says, "No,
Nope.
we're not."
Why would you think you're invincible?
I think she just kind of got overconfident with all the medals, and she just kind of had like a shock of reality here. So we then skip to Vin in a carriage that was meant to be Lady Villette going through Luthadel to get some air after being sick. Instead, the carriage picks Vin up to go back to Felice. She had been in bed for 3 more days since waking up and had felt wrong not being left for dead, even though she was draining resources. And Reen's voice in her head keeps telling her the whole plan will end in disaster, but she tries to ignore it. She wanted to be back at work to show the crew she was still needed. She also wanted to go back to practicing allomancy. And when she gets back to Renoir's manor, she is surprised to see Lord Renoir waiting for her. She states that he needs to dote on his favorite niece, and she wonders if he ever breaks character.
Oh,
Then,
why would you? Never know who's watching.
yeah. Ben finds herself easily slipping into her own character when speaking to him and asks where Sazed is. She's told Sazed is in the library, and when Vin goes up there after, she has to, flare her pewter to get up the stairs because she's still fucking fucked up as hell.
Hurt.
Um,
I'm not hurt. I can go back to work.
and she's surprised to see Sazed is wearing spectacles. After a moment, she states that he's an allomancer and he got to credit Shaw too quickly, but he disagrees, saying he could have taken a messenger horse and that he could have known of Kelsier's plan and known she would follow him. He also disagrees that he didn't kill the Inquisitor, just distracted it when she brings that up. He then asks if she thinks he's an allomancer, and eventually she asks about the Keepers, which he says is the right question to ask. He says that they are storehouses and that they can remember things to be used in the future. His specialty is religious truths, and he can also store languages and knows 172, including the one the book is written in. He also mentions that the language currently spoken is a distant dialect of Terrace.
Wait, he knows the language? I thought he had to decipher it.
So he has to go through it, but he does understand it, but he has to go through and translate it and write it out. But he does understand the language. I think probably the reason why he wants to decipher it properly is he wants to make sure he's getting the true meaning behind it, all of it, to translate it properly. So he then asks if she. Oh no, I read that. Sazed explains that allomancers. Oh no, I was gonna ask a question there, but it distracted me. I was gonna say, how do you think what do you mean what do you think he means by being storehouses, and how do you think he knows all these random languages from long ago?
Oh right, I think that's where the thing I was gonna answer was from, which is obviously mythic. I'm pretty sure it thinks about it that way too, where it's a metal that helps you see into the past.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he mentioned a metal mind previously with no context.
100% what I think. So
I wouldn't be surprised if it is that, but I also think that it allows you to enhance your mind in order to process and to remember shit easier, in a what's it called, eidetic memory.
Eidetic memory, yeah. When you have which I think is the proper term for photographic memory.
I think photographic and eidetic are different.
I think eidetic is an overall term, because I think people say that photographic isn't really correct because you don't always see it as pictures. There's different types of eidetic memories or something. I don't know. I don't know about it fully, but I think I heard that somewhere.
No, you're right. It is photographic. It is just another name for photographic memory.
So yeah, was there anything else you were wanting to say then about the metal mind stuff and the potential powers of a keeper?
Oh,
I guess actually there's a little bit more of a sentence here before we go further into that. Sazed explains that allomancers draw powers from metals, whereas he uses metals to create memories, but he won't explain more. There is also that sentence there. My next paragraph. So he's somehow creating memories, he says.
Which
using
is,
metals.
Still, you could be creating the memories of the past.
For some reason, my mind wants to go into that ability where you, where if you touch something, you get flashbacks and stuff.
Well, if that was true, he should be getting flashbacks from that book. So.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But the other one makes more sense.
So Sazed explains that his people are very secretive and that the Lord Ruler hates them. Then asks how they're treated worse than Scott, and Sazed explains that their reproduction is controlled and that all stewards are eunuchs. He was castrated soon after his birth.
That I was surprised to learn.
Yeah, so he was castrated. And he feels that his people are less than slaves and more like fabricated automatons who are trained since birth to fulfill the Lord Ruler's wishes. So yeah, how do you feel about the fact that their breeding is so controlled that they literally castrate the males who are to become stewards?
It makes sense on the controller's part. You know, it's like extremely awesome. I wonder, I wonder like what the like overall thing they're afraid of is though. Because obviously, if they can pass on knowledge and stuff like that, have training and all that, then they're not doing a very good job about it. But like,
Well, it's kind of implied that not all Terrace people are keepers,
yeah.
because he specifically says Terrace and keepers separately.
So are there keepers outside of tourist people,
We don't know.
or is it just that?
We just know that there are keepers within the Terrace people, and he's been trying to get rid of all the keepers, and that's why he hates the Terrace people. So it's kind of implied that there is no other keepers outside the Terrace, since he specifically does this breeding program with the Terrace people to keep keepers from happening. But obviously, they haven't completely been able to do that. So Vin says Sage is a rebel, and he says he's a deviant and that his people hide keepers from the Lord Ruler's very eyes. He also says it's very hard to break their training, and even he acts as a steward while here and came to Vin's rescue as he'd been told to keep her safe. So he's kind of just like, even though I am a rebel, I still struggle not to follow like my training, and I'm still like acting as a steward even while working for a rebellion, because it's like so ingrained into them.
I don't like him.
You don't like him?
No, I feel on edge around him, and I think it's just the fact that he has so much knowledge that's like scary to me.
Darkness is scared of knowledge.
I think I'm scared of keepers. You know what? Kind of.
You, the Lord Ruler? Are you gonna exterminate them all?
Yeah, probably.
Damn. So Vin then asks who betrayed Kelsier 3 years ago, and Say says most of the crew believe it to be Mare, as she was the only one who could have, and also that the Lord Ruler implicated her directly. He says he isn't sure if Kelsier ever knew if she truly betrayed him or not, though. Vin says her brother told her to never trust anyone, and Say says he wouldn't want to live that way. She also asks about Kelsier changing, and Say says that it's likely partially due to what happened to Vin, but he's also realizing that heading such a large rebellion is different than a small seeming crew. So what do you think about the fact that Mare apparently was the betrayer?
I don't believe it.
No,
I
I
do
don't
not
either.
think.
I think
I
it's yeah. I don't believe it at all.
Well, we'll get into that more, obviously, in the next chapter here.
Mm-hmm.
So our final
Hold on.
chapter.
Hold on. Do we know if that what's his name? Doxson, was it? Do we know if he
Doxson?
was like there and aware?
I believe Kelsier says in the next chapter that it was just him and Mare that went into Critic Shaw together.
Yeah, but he said, but it was mentioned that the reason they think it was her is because only a few people know, but there's obviously more people involved.
Well, yeah, they had like a crew, which I think that guy they mentioned that died, Doxson, and maybe like some other people.
I think
I'm
it
not
was
sure.
Doxson that betrayed him.
Ooh, damn.
If not that, then it's the fucking Lord Ruler and his stupid fucking ATM shit where
Well, let's get into this more in chapter 17 here. But first, the epigraph. It says, sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I'd remained there, in that lazy village of my birth. I'd have become a smith like my father. Perhaps I'd have a family, sons of my own. Perhaps someone else would have come to carry this terrible burden. Someone who could bear it far better than I. Someone who deserved to be a hero. So why do you think this guy doesn't think he deserves to be a hero?
Because he's not a hero.
Or maybe he just needs a therapist and he's like realizing that he's self-aware. He's like, fuck, I'm like troubled, so why me? What if imagine if like imagine if he was like, I told y'all this is gonna go wrong, like I'm gonna suppress all these people, like please just get it off my hands, and nobody listened, and he's like there now, he's like, I fucking told you.
He's like, I don't think I can handle this pressure. Like, what if I go crazy and do some fucked up shit? They're like, nah, you'll be fine. You're the hero of ages. And he's like, I'm not handling this well, guys.
It's just like all falling out of his hands.
That's when Quan was like, oh fuck, this guy really can't handle shit.
He's like, and it's like one of those like moments where you're like telling someone finally like, oh, I think you need some help, and they go ballistic.
What do you think, Mythic?
Or I think about what?
The he deserves to be a hero or not?
No, I don't think he's not a hero. He knows he's not. He's a fraud.
That's what he says previously. He thinks he's a fraud.
He
Or
is
no,
a fraud.
Krashek thinks he's a fraud. That's what it was.
He is a fraud. Rashak is the real Lord Ruler.
So we start this chapter with Finn admiring Renoir's garden of red, orange, and yellow plants. Apparently, some of the trees also have leaves in those colors. She is currently having tea with Lord Renoir, Lord Renoir, on the balcony, and notes that her every desire has been met over these past 4 weeks, and it had been maddeningly boring for her. Sayce also hasn't been giving her many lessons, as he'd been spending hours a day with the book, and Vin notes that to a keeper, new lore was probably more alluring than street spice. Vin also had to stay in character all the time, as Kelsier and Lord Renoir had hired people who didn't know of the job, as they worried the other houses may grow suspicious if they can't get spies on the staff. What did you think about the fact that like all these other houses want spies on everyone else's staff?
Well, I mean, it makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if Renox sends any spice of his,
Renox. Whether he does street spice, you're saying?
No, if he sends any
Oh, send
spice.
spies. I mean, I'm sure they would.
What's
Like,
street spice, by the way?
I'm assuming a drug.
Oh, really? Huh.
Do you spice?
What?
Do you spice?
No, I don't do street spice. Do you do street spice?
Yeah, it's like the best thing to do.
I don't know. I feel like lore is better than street spice.
Nah, street spice is the best.
No, I'd rather be a keeper.
Yeah, but you know more information. So.
Even with the information we know, I feel like I'd rather be a keeper.
What do you think about Lord Renox's situation?
What do you mean? You mean about his garden? I think his garden was very autumnal for winter.
What do I think about what darkness?
Like the spies and stuff.
Everybody needs spies, so.
Yeah, I'm taking over the podcast now. Midnight, you can back off.
Yeah,
Oh,
Midnight
okay.
can just leave. I mean, Midnight doesn't have any notes anyways. So.
Do you want to read it? You want to read out my next set of notes? Darkness, what happens next?
So the Lord Ruler walks into the place, right?
And kills everybody.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I was kind of expecting it. I mean, we know that he probably has a lot of ATM and can see into the future probably as well. So like, he obviously knew where to find them, and yeah, he just thought he'd give them some time to think they were safe, and then was like, yeah, I'm just gonna make my cool entrance.
Kill everybody.
And how do you feel about him taking the form of a gardener?
I appreciate that. It's very beautiful. I'm curious. I think that the metal that turns people into gardens is uranium.
Uranium? Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I need to put that on my list. I need to put that on my list now.
Yeah.
Well, that's the end of the podcast. Tune in.
All right. Everybody have a nice day.
So Kelsier, Breeze, Yedden, and Dachshund then arrive, and they come out onto the balcony as well. And Vin is eager for information, even though Lord Renoir gives her a dissatisfied stare when she eagerly says she's bored and wants to know what is going on. Vin notes that Kelsier is back to his old self, but still a bit more thoughtful than previously. Yedden is also a bit more civilized, and Kelsier says recruitment is still a bit low, but Ham says that the training is going well. He also tells Yedden he can go to see the recruits soon. And also, Marsh should apparently be with the Ministry within a month. So what do you think about all the little updates there?
Wait, hold on. I'm curious. What was Marsh's medal again?
Marsh is the copper guy.
Yeah.
No, sorry, he's not the copper guy. He's he's bronze.
He's bronze. What the fuck does that do again?
It senses allomancy.
Yeah.
Clubs is the copper guy.
Uh,
Yeah. So Marsh can detect allomancers. But yeah, so what did you think about their current updates on where the plan's at?
They need to
So far,
get their shit together.
so far, it seems like it's going slowly but surely.
I think it's going too slow.
You think it's going too slow? They're not recruiting fast enough? So Sayce then discusses the book, saying it seems to be a journal penned by the man who had become the Lord Ruler. God, my voice keeps dying.
What was that?
Sorry,
Oh,
my voice
shit.
just died. The journal penned by the man who became the Lord Ruler. It speaks of his life before the final battle at the Well of Ascension. Breeze asks how it helps them, and Sayce calls Breeze Master Ladrian. So what do you think about that? Because he always calls them Master Kelsier, Master Hammond, Master Cledence. What do you think about Breeze being called Master Ladrian?
I think he confused him with someone else.
I mean, he does it multiple times here.
I know. That's his first name, right? Right? Is it first name or last name? What does he address him as?
He addresses everyone else as their first name
Okay, then yes,
because I don't
first name.
think
Okay.
Ska have last names. So like you would call a noble by their last name, but you would call a Ska by their first name because they don't have a family name because they're Ska.
Oh, by the way, what like is there anything I don't know in my head? Is there anything that appearance-wise separates Ska to what noblemen would be like?
As based on the fact that they can easily blend in, it's literally just their clothing choices.
Bruh.
And the fact they wear makeup and stuff. Like the nobles seem to say, "Oh, all the Ska look the same." I can't tell. Like there's that one like in the prologue where like the one guy can't tell who Kelsier was after he looks away. He's like, "Oh, you can't tell any of these Ska apart." But I think that's mostly just because they're always like dirty and wearing like the same clothing, like all of them. Like it's kind of like a weird thing where like they're supposedly different, but also they don't actually look different because like no one can tell Vin's like a Ska going like a half Ska going to
Okay,
these parties and like
so what if like my brain is like hurting right now because I'm like, why don't they just like
I think they also imply that based on like the history of the Lord Ruler and everything because they basically say like oh the Lord Ruler granted allomancy to the people who supported him and everyone else is Ska. So basically they were like this one people like say it's the people of Kalenium and he basically said like okay these like 10 families supported me so these 10 families are now nobles and get allomancy but because allomancy is genetic they're like you are separate now from everyone else and you can't mix blood with the Ska even though they
And if
technically
you
were
do,
originally
we
the
will
same
come and
race.
murder you with my steel inquisitors.
Yeah, so basically like they were the same race like 1,000 years ago. But they're like the nobles are supposedly like slightly genetically different based on the fact that they have allomancy, but that's like the only difference that we know of.
but if that were the case and everybody else is just God, then wouldn't the inbreeding be crazy as fuck?
Well, I don't know how many people he chose. He just said his followers. Um, so there might have been inbreeding that might make
Even
like them be a little different.
even so, like over the course of over like 1,000 years,
Well, it
there's
depends how many
bound to
children they have as well. Like if you're careful with it.
in over 1,000 years.
Well, over like enough time, everyone's related.
That's scary.
Technically, if you go far enough back, Darkness, you, me, and Mythic are probably all related.
If you believe in the biblical sense, we're all related no
I
matter
mean, not
what.
even in the biblical sense.
Am I gonna have to start singing the fucking Canadian anthem?
Yes. Do you even know
um.
the Canadian anthem?
No.
So where were we? So yeah, Sage discussed the book. Oh yeah, we were talking about the Bastard Ladrian, and then Sage also says he doesn't think it's fake because it shows the Lord Ruler being uncertain on a lot of things, and a religious text likely wouldn't have had that because they're like, oh, it might be fake and just there to confuse you. And he's like, nah, I don't think so. Um, Kelsier then
Yeah, here's
mentions.
the reason right here. 1, 2, and 3.
Kelsier then mentions there is a ball this weekend and Vin insists on going, which Kelsier only agrees to if she won't use any physical allomancy unless Sage says it's okay.
Yeah,
Uh,
that'll go real well.
we then skip to later in the evening, and Vin is looking over the dresses that Doxson had brought her. She notes that she's starting to feel a bit more comfortable in them, but still finds them frivolous. She does think they can be beautiful, though. She wonders if Elend will be there as she contemplates the different dresses. There's a black and silver one, which she's like worried will be too dark with her hair, and like all the other women wear like super like colorful clothing. And then there's a yellow one, which she's like that's too colorful for me. And there's also a white one, which she's like also is not colorful enough. And then there's this like red one with like a low neckline apparently, and she's like, I don't. She basically is just like, I don't really have boobs, but it'll be fine. um, and so yeah, so she,
So she's basically just like you.
huh?
So she's basically just like you.
No, she's scrawny. I'm not scrawny. So yeah, so she chooses the red dress. And she noticed that she had stopped noticing that she was wearing perfume. Apparently, like, all of her baths are perfumed. The servants, like, perfume her clothing, and she's kind of concerned that, like, she's kind of stopped noticing that everything's perfumed. Also, apparently, her hair has grown down and been styled to curl around her chin. And then as she's, like, I think putting away the dresses, she notices Kelsier on a balcony nearby and goes out of her room to see him. Kelsier asks her if the dry plants, angry sun, and smoky black sky ever looked wrong to her. He says the world shouldn't look this way and hands her a picture of a thin-stalked plant with delicate leaves and different colored leaves on top. Kelsier tells her it's a flower and that they used to grow on plants before the Ascension, and they had a pleasant smell and some even grew fruit from them. Which Finn is like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? That's weird.
Yeah.
Kelsier explains that it was found with Mare's things by Doxson and that she was obsessed with the pre-Ascension times. He says even though she betrayed him, he keeps it and asks if you really stop loving someone after they betray you, since the love is what makes the betrayal so painful. He says that he would have rather loved her and been betrayed than not known her at all, and that she insisted she hadn't betrayed him up until her death. So, I think we had talked about this earlier. Mythic said, I think both you might have said you didn't think Mare betrayed him, but again, yeah. You still think Mare betrayed him or not, Darkness?
No, I don't think she betrayed him, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. So
I think it's the Lord Ruler and his little mind game shit.
So Kelsier then also mentions that Mare was also sent to the pits. Oh wait, I skipped a chapter or a
Shortly
paragraph
after,
here.
but yeah.
No, I didn't. So yeah, Kelsier also mentions that Mare was sent to the pits a few weeks after him, and that he doesn't know what happened in that time. He says that when they were caught, the Lord Ruler had thanked her for betraying Kelsier, specifically. And then he also says he had snapped after seeing Mare beaten at the pits. So we finally get a proper explanation of snapping here. So he says that snapping is an allomantic term. Allomantic powers are latent at first, so you don't know if you have them or not, and they only come out after a traumatic event that is almost deadly. He says that people say that in order to use allomancy, you need to see death and reject it. He had rejected it the night that Mare had died, and he had decided he wanted to fulfill her wish to have a world with flowers and green plants. So what are your thoughts on snapping? Sounds what? I think you cut out.
Cool. Sounds cool.
Does it? I don't know if I'd want to go through a traumatic event.
Totally. Sounds awesome.
I don't mind. We're all gonna go through traumatic events eventually.
Yeah, eventually somebody dies in your life. I mean.
Yeah, and Vin says she doesn't really know what her traumatic event was. What do you think her traumatic event may have been? I feel like there's a lot. I don't think she's like thinking about it clearly. I feel like she's probably gone through a lot of things.
Maybe she blocked it out.
Yeah, I think she definitely blocked it out, and I think it might have to do with something with her brother.
Yeah.
Like her brother died in front of her by the Lord Ruler.
Mm.
And now the Lord Ruler wears his face.
So Kelsier then says that Mare had wanted children, and he is glad they didn't, since the Lord Ruler may have hunted them down and killed them. But he
didn't hunt the other people too.
Yeah, but he also thinks that maybe Doxson and the others would have kept the child safe. He had wanted a daughter with Mare's dark hair and resilient stubbornness. He then tells Vin he doesn't want anything to happen to her and to be careful. Vin says she'd like to see one of those flowers herself one day. And so this is why I was kind of really weirded out, more so when Mythic had brought up the whole Vin and Kelsier together, because I'm like, they have a father-daughter relationship, but it's not really clear until later, and I'm like, no, this is his daughter! This is him and Mare's daughter!
It's not his daughter. It's not his daughter. I don't know what she's talking about. He doesn't know anything about... He doesn't have a daughter. Can't be his daughter.
This is his substitute daughter. He must protect her.
He's doing a bang-up job of that.
I mean...
Wait, is this the dad you were talking about?
No. This is not the absolutely horrific dad I was talking about.
Oh, that is the dad that she was talking about.
No, the dad... You guys, I don't think it's really spoiled. The worst fucking dad I've ever met here is Ellen's dad, Straff Venture. You'll get to know more about him in the future.
I don't think it was going to be that one, too.
Straff Venture
I honestly thought it was going to be Vin's dad, but...
Nope, it's Straff Venture. Fucking fuck Straff Venture.
Oh, just him?
He's the absolute worst dad, in my opinion.
I mean, I'm gonna go tell Jesus that you want to fuck Straff Venture now.
No, I do not want to fuck Straff Venture.
You just said. You just said.
Straff Venture wouldn't fuck me, and I don't want to fuck Straff Venture.
Why? Because you're ska?
No, there are reasons. There are fucked up reasons, and I'm not going to go into it until we learn about them later.
Oh, it's probably your age. That's exactly what it is. It's the only thing you wouldn't talk about.
But yeah, that
So
is
how old do you have to be?
the end of the chapter.
Great.
I, I'm
Now I
actually
can't
kind
wait.
of
Now I can't
worried.
wait to see this. Yeah, now I can't wait to see this pedophile in action.
What did you say, Darkness?
Yeah, I'm worried about that actually.
This is some of the darkest books that uh
Yeah,
he's written.
ever
So,
written.
very
Yeah, but he was
insane.
in a dark place when he wrote this.
Dark book series. But yeah, so that's the last chapter. So my first question is, do you think they'll ever see a world with flowers, or do you think that's just not a possibility ever?
I
Yeah,
think it'll
probably
happen. It'll
after
happen.
they die.
I think. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think she will. I don't think Kelsier is going to see flowers.
Mm,
Akasu's gonna die, so
I
definitely
think.
not.
Yeah, I definitely think Kelsier is going to die to the Lord Ruler's hand, and
mm.
then the Lord Ruler will wear his face.
Also, do you have any new thoughts or theories that we haven't discussed?
Not that I haven't already talked about.
Did 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 we talk about what we think Vince's brother is like doing
No, not
or like
really. I
what's
mean,
happening?
I put out my theory of where he is, but
The wearing the Lord Ruler wearing his face was pretty much the only
yep.
thing brought up about Reen.
Mhm.
So I think he's like
He's like what?
I'm starting to think he's like an inquisitor.
Oh yeah, I think you did mention that
Oh yeah,
briefly.
yeah. I think I did say that too, but I mean, those were the two options I had. But I don't know. I just find it. I find it would be hilarious. Well, not hilarious, but traumatic if Vin sees her brother, but it's actually the Lord Ruler.
Yeah.
And
Dang.
it would even be better now because if that was her traumatic moment and she blocked it out,
Hmm. That'd be interesting.
then the Lord Ruler has created two Mistborns.
I wonder how the fuck he walked out as a skeleton though.
That sounds super cool, and I cannot wait to see that
Yeah, the
That's
actually
whole
like
he
come.
apparently they tried to burn down the tavern and he walked out as basically just a skeleton and then was healed in seconds.
but like he has nothing to walk with. His
He
skeleton.
has bones.
He must
They
have
don't
still had some muscles left. They said pretty much a skeleton or something like that.
Probably said skeleton, but yeah.
No, they don't say specifically. They say he was almost a skeleton or something along those lines. It was specifically like not fully. Where is it?
I was picturing like his bones clacking while he walked. Click click click.
Where was it? Yeah, the roller walked out as barely more than a skeleton. So he did have something other than just a skeleton. So
No
he might have had
clothes
some
though.
muscles.
No clothes though.
No, probably no clothes. No
Walked down
skin.
naked.
No, probably no skin.
Like we went and hunted zombies, or not zombies, demons last night. Naked.
So yeah, so for next episode, you guys will be doing chapters 18 to 20. So 3 chapters. Because they are longer than the last one. Some of those last few chapters were just like 10 pages each, 10, 11 pages each. So these ones will be a bit longer. So look forward to reading those next time.
Yeah, I'll look forward to reading those on or listening to those on Sunday.
Yeah. So yeah, so thanks to everyone for hanging out and listening, and we'll hopefully have you guys around next week. Bye!
Bye.
Bye.